Hey everyone, welcome to the summit. Today we have the amazing Daniel Phung.
Hi guys.
So, for anyone that might not have come across you before, do you mind giving a bit of background on what your sort of dance journey's been up to here?
Yeah, sure. I'm Daniel, and I started as a I started out as a b-boy, hip hop dancer, popper, locker, all those kind of funk styles and whatnot. And I kind of started out because I was fat, and my brother was like, "You're fat, so come, let's go training." I was like, "I don't want to go training." So then I kind of out of retaliation, kind of just did like one move the whole year of like training, and so my first year was like, no, I'm not going to dance. But then I decided to give it a go, and I started to like it. And so I got better and started to train a bit more, and competed across the UK and as a b-boy, and then eventually did GCSE, A levels, what have you, and then ended up at Leeds Beckett University, which was Metropolitan at the time. Did my BA's Hons in dance there, and then ended up doing an apprenticeship through Northern with company Chameleon, and then since then been a professional. I graduated my postgrad in 2015, so 21 now, so nearly like 6 years. So yeah, and here I am making dance and enjoying storytelling in real life, whatever that means.
Nice. So you've been working sort of primarily as a freelancer since sort of graduating. How's that sort of process been?
That's a big question. That's a loaded question. It's been difficult. Being a freelance artist in general for all of us is difficult. I think when you're first graduating and you're trying to figure out what the heck you want to do with your life, and in terms of direction and all that kind of stuff, you're often faced with a lot of questions of where do I space myself, where do I focus my energy, how do I utilize my time. I need to make money, I need to do things what I need to do in order to get where I want to be, and all those things. And those kind of questions I questioned about myself during, say, the first 2 or 3 years, maybe 4, I don't know. No, I'd say 3 years. And during that time I kind of just jumped from job to job, doing things here and there, and I loved it. Contemporary was one of those things that I love the freeness of everything about it all. And my journey's kind of shifted a little bit, because now I'm slowly coming away from performing, specifically contemporary work. Because one of the reasons why I got into dance in the first place was the social aspect of dance, of speaking, exchanging, and having conversations, and creating, and for me it never started out as the end product. And it was always me and my boys go into a Tuesday training session in a church and just do busting moves to nothing, like to crazy stuff. But that was the original intention, and it kind of shifted over time, which naturally happens as a career. I get it, but I'm now wanting to focus on, well, not changing directions completely, but it's more refocusing on what exactly I want to do, and where I want to point my compass, essentially. And that is storytelling, and that is telling stories that feel relevant to me. That's freelance life, eh?
Ups and downs. So with that, you've probably had to apply for funding a couple of times, I'm guessing. What were the sort of struggles around that? Was there anything that tripped you up? How did you sort of navigate that whole situation?
Struggles, plenty of struggles not knowing how to apply for funding, knowing the language used for applications. Sometimes you can really, sorry, Kaylee's just coughing. I'm like, are you okay? Yeah, applications. Yeah, it's basically like overcoming the kind of hurdle of you're asking someone for money in order to do what you want to do, to fund your project, and not feeling guilty about it, because, you know, as artists, we're not quite valued as much as others, but at the same time, we should value ourselves in multiple ways. So yeah, applying for applications still is very difficult. But one of the greatest kind of advice I was given was think like a businessman, and think like a creative businessman, whatever that means. But yeah, I've just been applying for funding, and yeah, that's just kind of how it goes, really.
Yeah, just kind of getting over that imposter syndrome, I guess.
Yeah, imposter syndrome is a big deal, especially with artists.
Yeah. I think sort of socially, we sort of see ourselves as not as amazing as like other forms and mediums of stuff.
Yeah, it's also it's quite interesting because it makes me think of like people who have commissioned me previously.
Yeah.
And because I'm British born, Asian, Chinese and Vietnamese, there's often this thing of me fitting in within the criteria or this eligibility thing. And it's a bit of a weird one because I'm aware that I may have some kind of leeway because I have this minority identity. But what's interesting for me is that even though I am a Chinese Vietnamese person, I don't necessarily make work about Chinese Vietnamese issues, you know, and that's I don't know why I wanted to say that, but I thought it's really interesting for me to, even though I'm being commissioned by certain organizations that support East Asian artists, and I'm truly thankful for that. I wanted to be clear that I'm not, you know, we're more than just this monolith that you know we've been told.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously we've all been faced with coronavirus recently. How have you sort of been navigating through that whole situation? Like, what have you done to sort of keep yourself creatively inspired, I guess? And have you been working on anything at all?
Yeah. Prior to March last year, when COVID happened, I was in a full-time job just dancing every single day for about since November till March. So however months that is, like 4 months. At 4.5 months. And yeah, it was like Monday to Saturday, pretty like hardcore. And so I was physically and mentally exhausted, and I felt like I had zero space in my body at all. And during COVID, it was kind of, even though it was like, damn, like we have to be inside, we have to be within these 4 walls now, it was a blessing in disguise because I was able to refocus a lot of the things that I wanted to do. And my body just needed to rest. And so what I did was I danced during the whole COVID. That wasn't related to work because I did like 1 job or 2 jobs actually. During that, like this whole year that we've been in COVID, I've danced like 3 times, maybe 4. And it's really funny. I put like a little Instagram video on recently and people related to it. But the reason why I hadn't danced for that amount of time was because I just did not feel like my body was ready to do any of those things. Or my mind was not ready to do those things. I had a session in here the other day, which was one of the 4 sessions where I was like, you know what, and moved the sofa out the way, moved the table out the way. And it took, like, I had a 3-hour session, and 2 of the hours I was just like rearranging the room, you know, not knowing how to, you know, get ready and like throw myself on the floor. But it's really interesting because my mind, I was just wanted to reject everything. As much as don't get me wrong, I love dance. It's just I needed to balance the work side and the social side together, and that was, I guess, a way for me to reform. So yeah, that I hadn't danced at all.
Yeah.
And I've been, focusing on my photography quite a lot. My editing. I've been focusing on my relationship. I think, my mental health.
Yeah.
And playing a lot of COD. So yeah. Yeah.
That's how to do it.
I'm not gonna lie about that.
Yeah, I guess it's just sort of finding, because I mean, especially people shifting into a freelancer role.
Yeah.
Jobs aren't consistent most of the time, so it is just, I guess, harnessing other skills in that downtime as well. Just kind of realigning.
Yeah, for sure.
So sort of on that same path, what advice would you give people to, what advice would you give people that are starting out in their sort of freelance journey and maybe work seems a bit scarce, and just sort of what should they do if they're not working, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Not working. And they're striving
to prepare for work, I guess.
Yeah, okay, right. I would suggest, the greatest advice for me was to network. And speak to as many people as possible, know your own craft, know what interests you, and know your own values.
Yeah.
Because those things are invaluable. They are the things that separate you from Bob from around the corner, So I think it's so important to know who you are and know what your strengths are, your unique selling points and all of those things. And I'm not saying sell yourself. I'm saying present yourself to everyone and present you and wholeheartedly your imperfect self, perfectly imperfect self, And I think that's one of the things that took me a while to understand is don't try fit in, try be the thing that you want to be, and people will kind of be attracted to that. And keep going. Take breaks when you need to take breaks. Be honest. Incredibly honest to yourself. Yeah.
Nice.
Sounds super poetic. Like what? Who am I?
Well, and a bit more exciting news, I guess. You have a project coming out soon in the form of a film. Would you like to talk about that?
Sure.
What the scope
is. So my company Nil, we collaborated with Kaylee Price, who happens to be my partner. Not happens to be. I've been together for a while. We decided, because we weren't able to, interact with any other person in terms of contact and stuff, whereas we lived together, so it made sense. So we decided to work together, which, by the way, we just did not want to do whatsoever, because I hate working with Kay, except this one time. This one time happened to be good, But we are against it. But anyway, we decided, let's do something together, because we feel a bit rusty and we feel like we have something that we really want to talk about, because there's a lot of kind of peaks and troughs that have happened during our relationship. So we decided to do this project and a short dance film, our first ever short dance film, that's called Room, and it's inspired by watching other people's responses to COVID. Northern Rascals, they did a beautiful short film, and we were super inspired by that. And Botis, Far From the Norm, he did something really cool as well. And we were just like, how would we tell this story, our story, in relation to what they're speaking about? And so we were like, okay, that's an interesting topic, if you like. We were dead against mentioning COVID, dead against talking about lockdown, pandemic, because it's just, it's tiring, So we decided to talk about space, space between us, space, mental space, physical space, and emotional space, and all of those things. And we decided to create some sort of story line of us, how we dealt with our space during this time. And so, yeah, it's a story about us. It's a story about our truth, our perspective, our view on each other and what we value as freedom, and how do we navigate ourselves in our new normality, because our new normality will be to be in restrictions, if you like. And so, yeah, we're trying to find freedom within that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Do you have a release date at all?
Yes, on the 23rd of February. It'll be a double bill with Phung, who is an amazing artist who happens to also be the mentor for our project, because she's super experienced in dance films. So yeah, it'll be a double bill. It is 15-ish minutes long. We've just received the first draft and we're trying to trim that stuff down because it's a lot of beautiful stuff. But yeah, it's on the 23rd of Feb, which will be free. It will be streamed online somewhere, and it will just be shown that one time at that specific date, at that specific time, and probably it won't ever be repeated again. So yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll talk with you after, but I'll make sure that link is at the end of this so people know where to go. More generally, if people just kind of want to follow up with you and maybe like have a chat, like where can they go to do that?
Yeah, cool. You can check me out on my Instagram accounts, or you can drop me a message on Facebook. Just type in Daniel Phung. You'll probably see my face somewhere. And yeah, my Instagram handles are Daniel Phung, DANIEL PHUUUNG. I made it when I was a kid. Ignore me. And my Company Nil page is at Company Nil.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming on today. Shared some very interesting things.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate that, man.